Well, there is a bit of a dark cloud hanging over that side of the house, isn't there? Let's try and brighten things up a little bit. This is a great day, not just for landlords but for tenants as well, because when you separate people against each other and you say tenants are getting this and landlords are getting that, all you're doing is making a conflict where there doesn't need to be one. To have a landlord, you must have a tenant. To have a tenant, you must have the landlord. To have that relationship, you have to have a property. And what this government has done by following through on what the ACT Party campaigned for and this coalition government has signed up to do is restore confidence in a market which operates when participants come together with mutual respect and dignity, have a chance for both to express their ways and their rights and privileges. Those people need to be able to come together and supply one another with what they need. A landlord needs someone to occupy their house who looks after it, who respects it, who pays the rent, who treats their neighbours with care, who doesn't diminish the property value. A tenant needs a landlord who looks after their property, maintains it, buys it in the first place. Actually, let's go back a few steps. Works hard, saves, invests and buys one and then allows someone to occupy that property. What we end up with is a relationship. And that relationship is going to be going back to the way it was when we had people who respected each other rather than holding each other to ransom. And Madam Speaker, I have to say that was the feeling that the property investing community, the landlords as they've been tagged over there, have been feeling. And what the downstream effect of this feeling is you end up with people who don't want to take risks, not just on tenants, but actually on even supplying a property to the market. Even being a landlord, people don't want to take that risk. Because if you have got your hard work and capital invested in a property and then you have no ability to guide the way it is looked after, the way the person who is occupying it treats it, why would you take that risk? And I think we need people taking a punt in New Zealand, saying, I want to invest my capital in a way that supplies to the market who needs it. And the market, I know you say, oh, the people who care about economy on this side of the house. The economy is a way to describe the way our society operates. It's when people come together with mutual benefit, and that is what we are trying to bring back to this country. Madam Speaker, there was earlier conversation today in the House, so I hesitate to use this term, but there has been described a war on landlords previously. And I think what we are seeing now is the end to that so described by others in the past conflict, and which was causing a vast amount of collateral damage to tenants. I think what we are seeing is an ending of hostilities in that particular sphere of New Zealand's psyche. But I have to say, after listening to the speeches on the other side, it's more of just a détente on that sort of the side. It's just a pausing in hostilities. You can hear us waiting for that power so that they can come in and say to people, I demand you do this with the property that you own. You've invested your life into this product or this property or this asset, and I demand you do what I say. That is just something that we cannot go back to in this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we had a speech poorly delivered, not a lot of passion, by Mr Cameron Luxton. I mean, he is the hardest working MP in the Labour Party, so you can forgive him for being a bit exhausted at this point in the week. But he asked for what is this government doing to get some more houses? Well, Mr Luxton, the market needs to have more houses. I agree with you, and this government is doing multiple things to it. I won't digress too far, Madam Speaker, and feel free to pull me up, but we've got a cost of housing which makes it harder for people to actually build houses to deliver to each other. And that means that we need to do things like sorting out the products that go into houses that become rental properties. That's going through the Building Act and making it easier to bring products in from overseas, something that we've campaigned for and this government is delivering. We're making interest deductibility come back. Not as fast as I would perhaps like to see it, but faster than it would have without us. We've got things like RMA reform, which the Minister earlier this week has indicated will be coming before this House. And that is something that has been sorely needed in this country so we can actually build. So we can build places for each other to live, for each other to work, and so that we can produce an economy which will provide for others, because that is what we're all about. This bill, Madam Speaker, simplifies a few things as well. Oh, actually, hang on. There was another part in there that I'd like to address. We had Tamitha Paul say things like, All a tenant asks for is a long list of not a mouldy house, not a leaky roof, just all I want is a roof over our head. And that is a very fair comment. You do want to just have a roof over your head. You do just want to have a safe, warm place to live. We don't get those by punishing the people who are supplying it. And that is the feeling from the people who are supplying it. I come today to this house to report that the property industry who invest in trying to be good landlords have felt under pressure. They have been exiting. They have been less risk-taking. Now you could say, risk-taking, that's a bit of a funny word, but they've taken less risk. And you can say, well, you know, they're going to take a punt on I can't remember the language that was being used over there to try and denigrate tenants who were probably not top of the list when it comes to property inspections. But I think if you allow people to take risks, you will get more people housed. If you allow people to take risk, you will not just get more people who wouldn't have been housed, you will get people who have been housed and they want to move up into a different part of the community, as in they want to move into a part of the community with house. I don't think so, Mr. Bailey. I'm perfectly enjoying the speech right now because this is something that we have asked for a long time. New Zealand has asked for it for a long time. It is a place in New Zealand that needs to have a functioning property market. The ACT Party heard from the communities that were affected. We represented them into Parliament. We did things like the PET bond, Madam Speaker. The PET bond it's not just a piece of fluff tagged on the end. This is an important part of what makes somebody feel at home, is when they have their companion animal or their ability to get a pet. I think we've heard from many people who have seen the benefit of this. And you could tell by the first part of this bill's committee stage, Madam Speaker, where the opposition could say, look, we have some quibbles with it, and I think fair enough that you could say could be more, could be less, could be defined. We don't want to leave it up. We want it to be more strict on what sort of pets. But I think we've landed in a good space. I think it's a credit to the ACT Party for bringing this idea to the House so that people can have the life that they would like to choose and just pay a small 2 weeks of bond for the privilege of having an animal in someone else's property, which is their home. So, Madam Speaker, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.